Would you do it again?
My motto through this entire training prep has come from Romans 5, verse 4, which says that endurance produces character. And I want that to be the lesson not only for me, but for other people. I want that message to come loud and clear to my children, that endurance produces character. And in the moments that are really challenging, the moments that are really hard, endure. When you're really, really tired and you don't want to wake up, endure. Why? Why endure in those times? Because it produces character, and hopefully for the believer in Christ, it produces Christ-like character. Up to this point, I had said, no, I'm not doing a marathon, I'm not interested in running that distance, it's too far, it's too long. I think fear keeps us from doing hard things. The fear of failure keeps us from doing hard things. The fear of failure keeps us from doing really cool things a lot of times. And we make the decision before we even step foot into doing the hard thing, or even taking the first step in doing the hard thing. And that was me. I had chosen the fear route and chosen not to do the hard thing. And in the back of my mind, I knew that there was a 100-mile race coming up in October, and in the back of my mind, I was thinking, maybe I should do that. One night, I was putting my boys to bed, and we were talking about things, and they kept telling me, Dad, you ought to sign up for this 100-mile race. You ought to sign up for the Heartland 100. That was really the genesis of their belief in me, that I thought, you know what, I'm gonna sign up and do this thing. And I'm gonna train as hard as I can and show them how hard the training is and show them how hard the run is. So when they're there supporting me, and my goal really would be to finish the race. My very first night training run. It is currently 4 a.m. Started our run at 9 p.m. While I have my health, while I have these tools that God has given me, I want to use them in a way to inspire other people, inspire my children, most of all, towards that end.
3, 2, 1, go!
Let's go, John!
So it was a beautiful, cool morning, and once the gun went off, we just started slowly taking our pace. I think it was hard initially. Not only were the 100 milers starting at the same time, but they had the 100 milers, the 100K, the 50 milers, and the 50K all starting at 6 a.m. And so there was a lot of people who just sprinted out of the gate, just going really, really fast. And so the first 2 or 3 miles, I had to really focus in on my training and really focus on the pace that I plan to run, not run somebody else's race, but plan to run my race. I think it was a good start too, because I had my buddies there that were encouraging me. I'm about 8 miles in, and it's a beautiful morning. The sun is just rising over the hill over there in the Flint Hills. It's a beautiful course, beautiful weather this morning. It's supposed to be about 91 degrees today, but got the electrolytes flowing, got a good crew that's going to help me out, and looking forward to seeing how far we can push ourselves today. And don't forget, Jesus is King. I remember being really inspired as a kid, seeing my grandpa, watching my grandpa ride his bicycle on his birthday, 100 miles. And I thought that was the coolest thing. And he was such an inspiration to me. And in that same way, I'd love to be an inspiration to my kids. And not only to my kids, but the school that I work at, the people that I come into contact with. Again, I'm just a normal person, and normal people can do hard things. Coming into the aid stations with my crew specifically was definitely, bar none, hands down, the highlight of the entire race for me. I mean, complete highlight for me. I had not seen my children for about maybe 4 or 5 days. They were not at the start with me, but by the time that I got to see them at mile 17, they were running up to me and ringing bells, and everybody's asking me what I need. I felt kind of pampered the entire time, like, what do you need? What can I get you, I think one of the hardest parts of the race initially was between the hours of 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. because it was the hottest part of the day. In fact, this was the last report I saw, this was the hottest 100 mile that they've ever had on record for this race. And so my crew was really great about making sure that I was cool, that I was staying cool, and that I was in and out of the aid stations in a timely fashion.
Just wanted to give a quick update. We're 30.5 miles in, and very hot, unfortunately. Just trying to keep my heart rate low. So that means, unfortunately, walk, jog. But so far, just really enjoying God's creation and the blessing it is to be out here.
Mile 42 is where I got to pick up my first pacer, my friend Jordan. It felt good to converse with other people. And so he and I talked for the next 21 miles about a variety of things, and it was really encouraging to my heart. But once we got to the halfway point at the 50-mile mark, it was kind of a surreal moment. Like, wow, I just ran from 6 a.m. till 6 p.m. The sun is going down, which I was thankful for because that meant that cooler weather was coming. My crew chief, Kendall, ran with me from miles 60 through to 83. I think it was like the last 3 or 4 or 5 miles that I was running with Kendall that my Achilles was just really getting worse and worse on my left leg, and we really slowed down those miles. My stomach was really upset at that point in time, and it was in the wee hours of the morning, and I was starting to fall asleep while power hiking, and that was a really surreal experience of like falling asleep while walking.
How's it going, honey?
Oh, you're recording me. Well, it feels good to sit down. And
Colin misses you.
I bet. I miss him too. My gut's not feeling great, so the miles have been a lot slower than what I've wanted, but I'm just trying to get some food down and take the last 25 miles and get to the finish line. Really grateful for my crew and their willingness to help out and do silly things like rub my feet and calves. That feels so good. So grateful to be out here.
One of the coolest parts for me on the race was one of the lessons that I learned. As I reflect back on this, I think how important it is to not only have friends, but have the right friends. And Kendall is one of those guys that's like the right friend to have. The amount of times that he told me to come run on this side of the road or that side of the road or this side of the road or that side of the road because the path was smoother and there was less of a chance of me rolling my ankle or kicking a rock or things of that nature. Even when there's darkness around us, even when we can't see very far, the entire time he was looking out for my best interests, not his own interests. And not only did he notice that, but he said something about it and then had me move over to the side of the road. That was a really cool lesson. I think the Lord taught me just the importance of having really good friends who are looking out for your well-being and where you're placing your foot. And so he did that throughout the night as we were running together. Then we got to mile 83, and that was probably one of my longer pit stops before I picked up my third pacer, Keaton, and Keaton brought me home. By that point in time, my Achilles was really bad, so I'd say from probably mile 80 to 94-ish, we were just doing a pretty steady power hike.
We just left the last manned aid station. We have about 8.5 miles to go. It's 7:45 in the morning. The sun is coming up, which I'm thankful for, because I kept falling asleep. Or not falling asleep, but wanting to fall asleep on the trail. Thankful for my friend who's pacing me. He's being my company and keeping me awake. But enjoying
the opportunity to be out here.
And we got some coffee, we got some food. The sun was starting to come up, so I think my circadian rhythms were resetting, which was helpful. And by that point in time, it was both my Achilles. And there was a point where about 6 miles left to go, or maybe 7 miles left to go. I was doing some walk, jog, walk, jog, walk, jog. And it actually felt good to start running again. It actually felt better on my Achilles. And so we started running. We put some music on and started running the last 5 or 6 miles. The Lord was just really kind that it actually felt better to run in those moments. Getting to the finish line, I didn't expect to get as emotional as I did, but having the people out there cheering you on, you know, my crew chief is there, my wife is there, my friends are there cheering me on, and thinking back in that last, I don't know, 500 yards, just came a rush of memories for me of sitting by the bedside of my children, them encouraging me to do this race, all the many early morning miles that I put in, to be at this point where I'm 500 yards from the finish line. I think all those emotions just kind of came out all at once and became very emotional for me to cross the finish line. And man, it was like the best feeling ever, you know, and to hug with my crew and my wife was such a blessing. I'm just really grateful for, you know, I would not have wanted to do this with anybody else than the people that were right there with me the whole time.
Yeah, just seeing John like actually cross the finish line, like I was just really proud of him. And those last couple hours, I was just like praying, like, oh, just don't let his Achilles blow out. Like I just want him to finish this thing so bad. And I was like, man, if it would have blown out, I would have carried you. The rest of it probably wouldn't have counted, but like I needed to see you cross the finish line so bad.
If nothing else, my goal and my desire ultimately is to someday inspire my kids to do hard things too. We can do hard things. I'm just a normal guy. I'm not any different than anybody else in this world.
Would you do it again?
Maybe, yeah. I think I could see myself doing another one someday.